Hello, welcome everybody. It's Adon Rigg here with the second episode of Clean Freak. If you recall, last week was our first episode. I just kind of went over a 40,000-foot view of what the show is about and we're going to talk about. Now, this show is everything cleaning, but from the perspective from a sales and marketing perspective. But there's definitely going to be technical times and things. Topics that we talk about, because you can't sell if you don't know about the products, the services, the techniques, or the technical terms. So those play an important role in growth and sales, in marketing, in cascading your message. But really, this show is fully about the message of cleaning, the outcomes that we deliver. And the outcomes are absolutely mind-boggling, really, because when I got into this industry, I had no idea the value of cleaning. I mean, cleaning was cleaning, right? I hear it all the time. Someone will say, well, cleaning, 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 cleaning. And that is furthest from the truth. And the truth is that in 2020, a very small percentage of people know the value that cleaning brings to the marketplace. Now, with COVID, yes, there are definitely more people and more emphasis and a bigger spotlight on cleaning and a focus on it. But still, people don't fully recognize the value of cleaning and the ramifications or the negatives of cleaning poorly. I'll give you an example. I was in a grocery store the other day, and I was standing there, and there was a gentleman. And he had grabbed the spray bottle that the store provided, and he had the shopping cart, and he was just spraying that thing. I'm going to say, I'm not exaggerating, 15, 20 sprays for sure. And you could see the mist of the stuff coming up. Now, no one pays any attention to that. They say, oh, there's some guy spraying. But those of us in the industry understand that he only needs to spray that thing once, maybe twice, right? The 15 sprays is not a good thing. It's atomizing into the air. It's breathing it. It's falling onto the floor. There's all kinds of things. So we recognize that we have a long way to go in the cleaning industry to make the cleaning industry something that everyone values, that people want to listen to, that people want to appreciate and respect. So that's what this show is about. Now, today, I want to talk to you about selling, and I want to talk to you about the three stages or the three types of salespeople in the cleaning industry and the way they sell. Now, this really is for any industry as well. This diagram I'm going to talk to you and go over with you. But from a cleaning perspective, whether or not you're cleaning supplies or services, people basically fall into three categories of selling and the way they sell. And that's what I want to talk about today. Today, I want to talk about the three stages and what you can do to take yourself from stage 1 to stage 2 to stage 3. Now, stage 3 being the best, or ABC, however you want to look at it. Now, at least 80% of people sell what I call a market share driven focus. Meaning that they are really just going after as many accounts as they can. So if I share my little diagram here and kind of give you an example of what I mean. So here we have the diagram. I'll bring it up close so everyone can see it. You'll notice that what we have is we have this grid, right? And on one side, we have the investment of the supplier, okay, of you, of the salesperson, of the distributor, of the cleaning service, of whoever, you. And we have the investment of the customer, the prospect. And we're going to notice that the bottom is low, right? You got market share. So when we're talking about someone that sells market share, what he or she generally is they are a product-focused, price-driven sales individual or company, right? A salesperson or company, it all comes from culture. So we're looking at the low end, right? So when I'm just running into an account and I say, yeah, hi, I want to sell you some cleaning supplies, or hey, I want to know who does your cleaning services and stuff. my investment isn't very much, right? I'm like, hey, what do you, who do you use? They say, we use so-and-so. And it's a very quick conversation. It's, yeah, I'm interested. What's your price? Yeah, I can do it for this price. And you make a deal or you don't. If you're selling your supplies or services, your supplies, you walk in and you say, yeah, I sell janitorial supplies. The person says, yeah, we use so-and-so. Give me a price. You give a price. Person says, yeah, you're a little high. And it's a market share transactional relationship, even if you're getting new business. Now, growing up in the industry, I started, I think, when I was 22. I was in this industry for a long time before I figured this out. Before I really figured this out, I had to go to business school because I had such a mixed message from my sales managers, from the owners of the companies I was working for, from management. And they didn't mean to, but they didn't understand the difference either. They were saying, how many calls you make today? How many new accounts you have this month, right? At the same time, they want you to sell at list price, or they want you to sell at a high profit. Well, if I'm walking in and just, hey, I sell janitorial supplies or I sell janitorial services, I am providing zero value, right? And that's where we go into the next slide. When we look at, right, we look at value. So I'm providing no value, right? And as we provide more value, we spend more time, more effort, more services to create that customer, to look after that customer, to manage that customer. There's more value in there. We're creating more value, meaning we're doing more, and the customer is receiving more. So we're moving out of market share, out of transactional, and we're moving towards more a kind of a partnership where they like you. They might even only be paying a little bit more or not much more than the market share price. I see a lot of salespeople out there that are out there running around, and they're given a whack of free services, free training, and delivering products that don't meet minimum orders. And the customer, screwed up and needs the product today. And the sales rep gets in the car and drives all the way to the office, grabs the product, throws it in the car, goes all the way back, and it's taken 2 or 3 hours of the day to drop off $100, $50, $75 worth of product. I will never forget one of the greatest learning experiences for me was when I caught onto this was in the mid 90s, early in my career. And I was knocking on a door and I was trying to get in the door. And the customer finally said, phoned me and says, okay, I'd like to buy that disinfectant. And it was a little disinfectant. It came in a tub and there were little packets, and they dropped into the water, and it diluted, and you had your ready to use disinfectant solution. And he phoned me and said, I'd like to take one. I thought, great. He meant he'd like to have one tub. There was 4 tubs in the case. He wanted one tub. All the work I had done for this account. Now he phones me and he wants me to go get a tub, to sell him a tub. Well, we sure aren't going to ship $22 for $22. So what does it do? It goes in my car. I drive it to him. And I recognized at that point that I had done such a disservice. I'd done such a poor job selling that this guy was like, yeah, I'll buy it, but I only can afford the tub. So not only was I calling on an account that didn't have any money, I was calling on a buyer that was just so money conscious that he's ordering a tub. And I recognized all the effort I had gone through to try to get this account. I finally got this account, and he buys a tub of product. Now, he would end up buying some more product down the road and stuff, but when I look at it, it was not worth my time. I was giving high profitability, high value service and getting market share price. And that's what we want to get out of. So right in the middle is, the more value you create. Now, when you're selling cleaning, market share is usually a conversation around your products and services. as you create more value, the ones that create more value, the salespeople that create more value, are the ones that start changing the conversation. And they change the conversation from my product and service to being a little bit more safe, right? Maybe they talk about green, they talk about products being safe, health and safety, these type of things, low odors, things of this nature. And the salesperson is having a more sophisticated sale. They're adding more value to the cleaning equation. And the customer is recognizing, yeah, I really want to protect my employees. I want to use green products. Yeah, no, that's very good. And so the sales rep is moving up the grid. The sales company is, with their sales managers, moving up the grid and providing more value. Remember, value is another word for profit, right? As in shareholder value. So value creation, so profit, right? As you create more value, more profit for your organization, as you create more profit value for your customer, you can start to demand a higher price because you're adding so much time and value to them that they're not going to sit there and nickel and dime you. So you start to change the conversation from your products and services being just a product and service to your product and service being green, right? Being a little bit safer. And so that's a conversation that starts to get more sophisticated. But as you move up the ladder in selling green, what I've noticed is that the elite, I'm going to say the top salespeople, I don't know what that number is. I'm going to ballpark it in and around 5 to 10% of the salespeople. They sell at the level 3. Many in around 80% sell at the transactional market share. And right in the center, I'm going to say roughly about 20% sell on that value creation. They start getting away from talking about their product and service. And they start talking about the outcomes that their product or service delivers, meaning it's safer. It's not as harmful, reducing labor costs, that type of thing. But as you move up the ladder within the cleaning, you start to have a different conversation. Now, before I move on to the profitability conversation, this always stuck with me, and this was market share has nothing to do with profitability. Market share says we just want to be big. We don't care if we make money doing it. Former CEO of Southwest Airlines, Herb Keller. And that really stuck with me. So when your sales rep or you as a salesperson or you as an owner are asking your salespeople to go out and make many calls, more calls, you are having a price-driven conversation. You're having a market share sales strategy, and you need to step back from that because you're not going to get a lot of profit. Now, when you first start, you might be a solo entrepreneur. You start in your company. You need to get some new accounts and get some cash flow going. Then, there's always exceptions to every rule. But for the most part, you want to get out of the market share driven conversation and get into a value conversation. So as you move up, you go from talking market share, price, product, to talking green, talking a little bit more safer, a little bit of health and safety. And as you move up to profitability, you start having a different conversation, which in the cleaning industry is a very important conversation that a lot of people don't really recognize. And we're going to talk about that just after we have a little break from our sponsor.
Are you in the janitorial supplies or services sector? Do you find that your margins are being squeezed and growing profitable sales is a struggle? If you answered yes, the reason might be that you are using outdated sales and marketing tactics from ancient time, like way back in 2010. But seriously, the world has changed, as well as your customers and prospects, but chances are your strategies have not. Introducing Janitorial Marketing Solutions. We create content in the form of articles and videos just like this. We post them on your social media channels such as Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, and we send out this content in a personalized email marketing newsletter. We also include a complete CRM customer relationship management program with every package starting at just $50 per month. Call us today for a free complimentary consultation or visit us at www.janitorialmarketingsolutions.com and let's take your sales and marketing into the future.
Okay, so That's for our sponsor. So now we're talking about moving up this grid, right? We're talking about moving up the scale, and we're talking about the investment, right? As you move up, we're talking about the investment of both parties. We're talking about the investment of your supplier. We're talking about the investment of you, of the supplier, of you, and of the customer. Both people have a commitment and an investment of time and resources as you move up the value equation. If you have no investment, you're not spending any time, no knowledge, you're not providing anything besides just your product or service, and your customer is just receiving the product or service, then the investment for both of you is low, bottom of the grid. You're going to be in a market share driven relationship. And if you're making really good margin, and that's the service you're providing, and that's the service they're expecting, then it is only a matter of time before you lose that business. You might keep it because you've been the rep and you've been there for 20 years and Sally, Bob, or Joe buy from you and they love you. But the minute he or she leaves, your business is very much in jeopardy. I've seen this happen time and time again. So if you have market share driven relationships, you need to look at see how you can bring that up and create more value. If you're making good profit. If you're not, then keep that as it is, because it's a market share driven relationship. It's a price driven relationship, and that's where it will stay. But so when we're selling cleaning supplies and or services, we want to take the conversation from product and service to where we can start talking green. We can start talking about a little bit of health and safety. We can start talking about indoor air quality. And this is what those that go out of the grid from the bottom and start moving up the grid, the conversations they start to have. But the main conversation, the conversation that really starts to create value and profitability is the collaborative relationship. And you start to collaborate with your customer. Your investment is high and their investment is high. And so both of you are committed to delivering and creating outcomes and collaborating. Now, what does that look like in the cleaning industry? Well, at the core of what we do in the cleaning industry, whether we're cleaning supplies or services, we're not just supplying products. We're not just supplying safer products that help with ergonomics or help with odors or help with being a little safer for the environment and those things. That's a green perspective, and yes, we do that, and that's very important. But as we move up the ladder, we're changing the conversation. We're changing the conversation from product and service to green, and now a more sophisticated conversation, a more relevant conversation, one that is a higher level conversation. The conversation you're going to have with executive management, with CEOs, with those that are in the positions of decision making, is risk reduction. That's what the cleaning industry is really about. When we're selling cleaning supplies and or services, the people that use those products, or the people that are derivative of using those products, so customers, students, employees, what have you, it all comes down to risk reduction. When you think about what's going on in a building for facility managers, you have a bunch of people in a bubble, in four walls, and you are bringing in all types of things. You're bringing in dirt. You're bringing in ice melter. You're bringing in disinfectants. You're bringing in glass cleaners. You're bringing in bowl cleaners. You're bringing in all these different things that have all these different chemicals associated to them, ammonias, alkalis, bleach, whatever it is. Then you have ventilation systems that's taking the air from within the building and putting new air within the room. You have all types of different things going on in a building that is affecting people. You have the people turning on the taps, washing their hands, using water. You have the employees plugging vacuums in, using vacuums. And all of this is going on within this building. And everything that I've mentioned has a risk associated to it. It has a risk to the people, to their health. It has a risk to their productivity, has a risk to their ability to think, has a risk to all of these different things. It has a risk to the bleach being in the building, the ammonias, the caustics, the alkalis, the acids, the perfumes, the disinfectants. These all have a negative impact on the planet. So it has a negative impact on people. It has a negative impact on the planet. And when you are negatively impacting the planet, you risk regulatory compliance. You risk fines. You risk fines when you're surrounding your employees and patrons with that. You have the negatives is impacts on human health, impacts on ability to think, impacts on productivity, impacts on sick days, and all those impacts. So you are risking their health. You are risking the planet on using products that could create risk to the planet, or you're using a lot more electricity or a lot more water. And these things all within this building that you're working in or basically living in 8 hours a day is putting risk to either the people, to the planet, or to the profitability of the organization. If you're using high vacuums that use a lot of energy and not low wattage, you're using energy costs. If you're using a lot of water, you're using water. If you're impacting the employee's ability to think and their cognitive function, and that you're impacting their productivity, they're not feeling good, they're taking the day off work. Now their sick days. All of these things are risks to either people, planet, or profit, which is sustainability. And so the higher level cell, the message that the world needs to hear is that cleaning is about risk reduction. Cleaning is about risk mitigation. And us in sales need to think of ourselves as risk evaluators, not someone that sells products and services and comes in and wants to put more product on the shelf, or wants our uniforms to come in and clean and kick out the other uniforms, right? What we need to recognize, what is really actually exhilarating, motivating for me, is that we're risk reducers, we're risk mitigators, we're risk evaluators. And when we walk in to sell our products and services, if we lead with knowledge and insight first, if we look at the facility holistically, like a doctor, like a consultant, and look in this facility and say, hey, where are all the ways that they are at risk? Either risk to the health of their employees, either risk to the planet, or either risk to the profitabilities of the organization. And when you can walk in and recognize that you are a risk mitigator and you're removing the risk, all risk pretty much has a financial impact on the organization. And organizations make changes for financial reasons. There's the costs and there is the price. So you could get them to change on a market share price driven strategy, and you know what, they're paying $30 a gallon and you're going to sell it to them for 25. You can have that conversation, and a lot of people do. But that's a market share price driven strategy. Or you can walk in and acknowledge and look at what they're doing and see ways to help them save. Instead of saving them $5 a gallon, you can help them save on improving productivity of their employees, to reducing the sick days, to improving the math scores, the reading scores, reducing water consumption, energy consumption, reducing liability issues with products and fragrances that have a financial impacts should they be sued or found out, or the recycling, or what their recycling program and how they recycle. All of these things have a risk. right? There's economic risk, there's social risk, there's reputation risk, there's operational risk. So, and there's economic risk. So there's all these risks that we as salespeople, as entrepreneurs that are selling our products and services need to look at. And our product and our service is just allows us to play the game. When we get away from having a conversation about our product and service, and we start moving up the sophistication ladder, up the value creation process, and start talking about green and safety, and then we start moving to a higher level of risk mitigation, risk evaluation. And then we come into a facility, we look around, we do a diagnosis like a doctor would to you, and then we sit back and say, okay, here's the ways that they're at risk. Here's how we can help reduce that risk. And most customers are very open to, very much want to reduce the risk of their employees on the planet and to their profit and to improve their profits. Very few are interested in moving and changing products and services because you're a better price. They might change because they like you, but they're not going to change and pay more. And therefore, you're still in a market share driven conversation. I hope you found this of value. Recognize that in cleaning, when you're selling cleaning products and services, we need to get out of talking about our products and service, start moving up the value creation, the profit creation grid, and start talking about risk reduction, risk mitigation. That's what we are. We, in the cleaning industry, reduce the risk to people, to planet, and to profits. I'm Adon Rigg, and I'll see you in the next episode.